Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Woodin and I'll be your host. Joined by my co-host, Katrina Kat Zick Wolf.
Hello, everyone.
Kat always fills in for Donna. Donna is under the weather, sick. We wish her well. Hope she gets better soon. And it's always a pleasure to work with Kat.
Thank you.
So,
right back at you.
Army veteran.
9 years, 9 days.
Yeah. Sarah, it's been a while since you've been on.
It has. I think I was on after the pandemic, but it's been a while.
Yeah, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
For those that don't know Sarah Mitchell, she's with the Dames for Soldiers. She is the co-founder of Dames for Soldiers here in Connecticut. We've always had some great shows. There's been some changes here in the studio.
Some new cameras, new co-hosts.
Yeah.
New cups,
still
new mugs.
New cups, new desk.
That is true.
I don't think you were here when this desk was
there.
there.
This is new to me.
We had the old Channel 3 news desk. But with that being said, let's jump into this. How we normally start the shows is we thank our veterans for the service and everything they do. And one thing I always make a point to do is even if you're not a veteran, we want to make sure that we appreciate everything that you do for the veteran community. And as far as we're concerned, you're part of that community. And it's an honor to have you here and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for having us back on.
Yeah. So we've got a lot to talk about. Why don't we jump right into it?
Yeah. So let's welcome back and tell us what got you started in this. How did you kick it off and why?
So Dames for Soldiers came about in 2016. We were invited to attend an Iwo Jima event in New Britain, and the organizers of that asked, "What is your group's name?" And it was kind of one of these panic moments with my co-founder and I, like, we're not really a group, we're a hypothetical group, but at that moment, we became officially Dames for Soldiers, and we volunteered with breakfast and greeting the little World War II veterans and just bringing joy and smiles to that event, and it just kind of springboarded after that of other folks reaching out saying, "Oh, do you do other things? Do you do other events? What do you guys do?" And we've been around since 2016. Nothing has stopped us. We've modified a few things here or there, but we're still out in that veteran community helping service members and their families.
You know, as time goes on in any organization, you grow and you adapt to, the environment out there. I know things have changed since COVID and all that, and how we do business.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a constant living thing that you're constantly adapting. What's your? I think we've almost covered a little bit here. What's your connection with the veteran community?
So with Dames for Soldiers, at least right now, we are all civilians. Last year, we did have an individual who was serving. She flew helicopters. Lindsay is, I don't know if I can say she's just a really awesome person without being censored on air. She had to leave the group because she's now down in Mississippi doing training for helicopters and all that fun stuff. She's awesome. But all of us are civilians. We all have our own military connections. Some have parents who've served. We have a Vietnam Navy vet, his daughter's with us. We have a Coast Guard vet's daughter with us. My grandfather served in World War II. Another one has an uncle who served in World War II. But all of us have an immediate connection to the veteran community, and for us, it's our way to give back. It's our way to say thank you. We're invested in some capacity before the Dames kind of did recruitment and found each other. But for us, it's our ability to say thank you. We see you. We care about you. You all matter. And just having some fun with some folks. Some of the civilian population is a little wary to hang out with.
Right. Well, getting back to what I had said initially when we opened up, you guys matter too, because you bring that smile to that veteran that's out there during the ceremonies, and what you guys do is, you definitely lift up the people that are around you. And a lot of times, let's face it, the shows that we've done, you and I being veterans, we know that there's times that they need that pickup.
The veteran community is quite large, and
Yeah.
we have a lot of issues we're trying to struggle with. And so having that support group outside of that, that's 5 times greater than our population, is much appreciated.
Yeah.
And the more, that's part of what this show does, is connect these people together so that we know where everybody is and what they can do for us.
Yeah, we tend to play the thank you game back and forth. Veterans will say, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here. And then we're back. Well, thank you so much for your service and
Thank you
doing
for
what you did.
thanking
Thank you
me.
for coming home. Thank you for being here. Thank you,
think we just did
families.
that.
It's,
Yeah.
we're playing that thank you game, and it's for us. We don't need to be thanked.
Yeah.
We appreciate it every time we are, but for us, it's not about us as a group. It's not about us as individuals volunteering. It's about why we are here, giving up our weekend, giving up an evening. So people do know that civilians do care.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to know that what you're doing, you're volunteering for, is appreciated.
Well, I think one of the main things that makes this work is fun. You're
Oh, yeah.
bringing the fun back. I mean, I was in an infantry unit for a year over in Korea, so I get it. A good-looking gal is good for morale. So that's standard, no matter what the situation, and that still works. And so there's getting these pinup groups that are starting to pop because it's fun. I do it too on my as a hobby thing, not formally or anything, but fundraisers for the VFW and stuff. So what makes your group different from the other? What's your specialty?
So for us is we are not a nonprofit. We are not actively seeking donations for any specific causes. We just look through the newspaper, look through Facebook, work with the connections that we've had in the past and say, what can we do? I'm really big on personal life does fundraising and events. We don't want to plan our own events. We don't want to do our own fundraising. We'd rather help somebody else who needs
Smart.
extra volunteers that day of. So we'll do anything from selling raffle tickets to taking pictures to setting up tables. We've been to Healing Hoofbeats has had their open house day, so we're there petting the ponies and feeding carrots and you name it. We've I won't say we've done it, but we may be open to doing it.
Well, I met you at the Irreverent Warriors.
Yes.
We were doing the hike with Eric, who we'll have as a guest in the next session. So I was like, oh, that's nice. You know, they were doing a whole photo app, and you could go have your picture taken with the dames, and everybody. It was fun. It was campy. Everybody was smiling. So it's a really welcome thing, and the fact that you guys are just doing it out of your heart is really amazing.
I know you work really close with Renee up at Healing Hoofbeats. And Nicole. Is Nicole still up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So those are some of the ones you've worked with. So who do you support with your efforts outside of that?
So we kind of travel about the entire state of Connecticut. Like I say, we started in New Britain with the Iwo Jima Survivors event. We've done work with the Fisher House Foundation when they were erecting the house down in West Haven. Guardians of the Purple Heart, we usually do their poker ride. Irreverent Warriors, we have been there since day one, running registration, herding the cats, giving out hugs, you name it.
It gets harder the later in the day.
People get sweatier, but for us, it doesn't matter. We just hug you and we go take a shower later. Wreaths Across America is another big group and organization we volunteer with. And we kind of do our own Memorial Day celebration remembrance ceremony at the State Veterans Cemetery with just our ladies. And we've been starting to handpick and invite children to join us so we can pass what we do along to another generation. So at some point, we're going to age out, not be here any longer. So we need someone else to carry that torch for us.
Now, you had mentioned Wreaths Across America. Do they still do the one up on West Street in Rocky Hill? Or it's just down at
Nope, I believe they
Middletown.
do.
Do they?
I think they still do the one in Rocky Hill. The State Cemetery in Middletown is the biggest one. They have 12,000 laid to rest there.
Wow.
This year, we as a collective, not just us, were able to get enough wreaths to fill that entire cemetery. There have been years in the past that it just hasn't happened. When we started, I want to say about 6 years ago, there were only 9,000.
Oh, wow.
So as time has gone by, more and more are now there.
I know when I was heavily involved with the American Legion and obviously the Wreaths, and used to go down there. There was like 6. I know I've been there earlier this year for a family member that was laid to rest there, and I couldn't believe the size of it now.
Social media definitely helps. I mean, they had crank start computers when you were doing that. So.
Thanks, Kat.
Moving on to the next question.
But
Was that to get the power, or?
That's to get you. No, the phone. How do you get the ring-a-ding? No, old Army joke.
Radar.
Cold War. So, but that's part of it and that's part of why we're doing it is because this goes out on YouTube and we can blast things out there.
Yeah.
People who really want to help don't know how. They're like, oh, hey, and the friend tells a friend and puts it out on their media. So those of you who are out there watching this, whatever you share of ours really helps these people tremendously at no cost. It's free. It's a click, and it just is great to help these groups get support and more exposure. So
That's the name. That's our mission. If you're a first-time viewer of the Veterans Corner, started this. Here we are, 2024. Started this in 2013, and the main goal was to bring organizations on, foundations, individuals, anyone that provides a service for the veteran community. We wanted to give them exposure on the show. And here we are closing in. Actually, we're about 10 away from, or close to 10 away from 300 episodes.
yeah, closing in on it.
So I mean, that's our main goal is to get the word out and give exposure.
Speaking of exposure, how does one become a Dame? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who love to play dress up.
Yeah, so for us is we don't have any upper age limit. We do ask everybody to be at least 21 years old. Liability, safety purposes, we need to make sure you know what you're doing while you're at an event. From time to time, we will hold recruitment. So we'll put out on our social media saying, were you interested in becoming a Dame? Do you want to learn more about it? What's it all about? And folks will send us essentially their resumes, their photos, their volunteer experience to let us know this is who I am, this is what I do. And sometimes we also have folks who will essentially cold call and say, I saw your group, you were at this thing. How do I get involved? And at those moments when we're not doing recruitment or need our numbers to increase, we'll keep everybody's contact info. And when we do another recruitment, we'll reach out. But like I say, it's all ages, all shapes, doesn't matter. You can be in the military, you can be a veteran, you can be a civilian. For us, as long as you're putting veterans first and service members and their families first, that's our priority. It's one of those, you feel it in your heart. Yeah. And since we've been doing this so long, we know when somebody comes in, this person's here for the right reasons. They're not here to find a partner.
Yeah.
Please don't. Please don't.
They're here to really give back to the community.
No. Did we cover the top three favorite?
Not yet.
What are your top three favorite events that you guys do during the course of the year?
Yeah, so for us, Wreaths Across America is a big one. That started, like I say, 5-6 years ago for us. One of our group members was the only one to go that year we signed up because of a snowstorm. So she got in her truck,
wow.
She drove to Middletown, she made it back from Middletown, and she said, this is what we need to do. We need to do this event every single year. I said, all right, sold. So we get together, that's our signature event for us. We then rolled into the Irreverent Warrior Silkies hike. Didn't know year one when we signed up what we were walking into. We now know what we're walking into, and it's something we look forward to each year. This year we created construction paper and cardboard signs that we carried with us saying, you matter, free hugs, and the number of folks who, we engage a lot with folks on the hike, but this year was definitely more of that hugging and loving and just having a really good time. So for us, that made our hearts warm and fuzzy. And our
camaraderie and all that.
Oh my gosh, it was, people were like,
so
we don't want to
inclusive.
hug you, you were so sweaty. We're like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's a great time. And then our last one is what came out of COVID. The state cemetery does flags in and flags out.
Yes.
So one Memorial Day, they canceled flags in for the public. And that did not sit well with us. We've been doing it for years, and I said, we're gonna come up with something. So we took to social media saying, those who have family members buried in Middletown, those who have family members deceased elsewhere, please send us their names. If you know where they're buried in Middletown, please send us their locations. And we did our own little ceremony. We read everyone's name aloud. We go to everybody's site that we have a location for, pay our respects to each and every person. I think now we're up to about 90 individuals that we recognize for ourselves on Memorial Day. We don't publicize the date. We don't want the public to come in. It's something for us to be being paged for us as a group to really have that moment and say, as civilians, thank you so much. And as I mentioned earlier, we're bringing in younger folks to be a part of that so they understand why this is important, what Memorial Day is about, and why we should just care as a community.
Now, if I remember right, it's been a while since I was involved. Isn't there another state cemetery down in Fairfield County?
I'm not sure.
There's a cemetery down there where there are a lot of, I don't know if it's a state or it's one of the local ones that have a number of our veterans who are buried there. That might be the case. And I know there was many wreaths that were ordered for that area. I always thought there was just the two cemeteries. People, a lot of...
We're tucked in everywhere.
Yeah, and the way that works is folks have to nominate the cemetery, so it doesn't necessarily go through the state system.
A lot of folks out there don't realize that there is the other state cemetery on West Street in Rocky Hill. It's actually out of the way. It doesn't have the stones that Middletown has. Actually, there's no stones.
They're all
footstones.
all flat.
Now, what have you learned by volunteering in the veteran community? I mean,
we've learned a lot of things.
Stuff that we can mention on TV.
G-rated only.
Yeah. It's a family show.
For us, especially those who kind of come into the organization, or the Dames group as newbies, who may not have a lot of interaction with the veteran community prior to us, is we all learn you're people. Yes, you've served, yes, you've done things that we haven't done, but at the end of the day, you're people, you need support, you need love, you need hugs, and I think it's breaking down, especially for our group, is breaking down that wall, being that bridge of somebody who says, well, I want to get involved, but I'm not sure, I'm scared to go to a ceremony by myself. I'm afraid to reach out to the VFW. I don't want to insult anybody. I don't know what's okay to say, what's not okay to say. And for us, we're kind of that go-between. And over the years, we've been able to bring folks to different events, share things with our friends and families and coworkers of, you should go do this, you should check this out, this is why it's important. So for us, it's that go-between. And like I say, for us, it's your people. There's some moments of conversations we step away from because we can't lend our humor and jokes to it, but there's also other folks where if we've been around you long enough, we feel we've earned the right to say certain possibly insulting things to you because we can go back and forth in that respect.
That's the
I was
word.
curious about that because when I went to the first Norwich Silkies hike, and it was like being back in the infantry. It was feral, it was hilarious, it was just raw. And I almost felt sorry for any civilians that really didn't know what they were walking into, because even when we were at our destinations where we were allowed to be and the police had our support and everything, it looked like fights were about to break out everywhere. And it's just, that's how we talk.
Banter.
And you don't know. Are you guys angry? Maybe. I don't know. You're going to swing? I don't know. Maybe. But we're pals too.
Yeah.
And it could be a lot for a newbie to kind of acclimatize to.
And for us, as we've been with the same organizations year after year, there are people we see time and time again, those we know we can poke a little harder at than others. And especially with the Silkies hike, we run registration. When Eric comes on, I'm sure he can say, Dames for Soldiers run a tight ship. Yeah. If they say stay back, you better stay back because it's not your time to come forward. But for us, that group is family. And they look forward to harassing us just as much as we look forward to harassing them.
Is there any one moment that stands out to you?
I can't share that on TV, but we'll just say when you work the registration table and you're not the one putting wristbands on people, you have a very narrow view when you look up and back down to check names off. We'll just leave it at that.
And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, these are my people. Oh.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you had talked about introducing to VSOs, veteran service organizations, even though there are veterans that have been through a lot of times they just want to stay away. And, you know, but by you bringing them into that front door of that American Legion or VFW or DAV or whatever, or a place that offers help, it means an awful lot. And that what you guys do is an enormous.
We almost act like auxiliary wingmen because going by ourselves is tricky, it's challenging, we have anxiety and everything. But if we've got people there who are receptive to us, who aren't going to judge us, who welcome us and think it brings the whole anxiety factor way down.
Yeah.
So
and we've had folks reach out to us, you know, through social media saying, "Thank you so much. You changed my perspective. I feel better. I'm happy." It basically goes back to, I'm happy civilians do care. And when I read those notes to the rest of the group, it hits our heart in a way of, this is just us being us. You know, we're honored to be able to volunteer. We're honored to be able to listen and share stories. And one thing we don't do is push ourselves. We don't bring anything political. We're here with our polka dots, red lipstick, here to have a good time and allow families who may be present as well to feel comfortable that we're not here to steal your person. We're just here to bring some fun and some smiles and have a good time.
And maintaining a cheerful disposition from beginning to end. We recognize that sometimes that takes some go-to.
Yeah.
So now, is there anything on your bucket list that you would like your organization to jump into, or that you're looking for?
There's two things, and a lot of them hinge on personal finances and availability. One is getting ourselves down to Arlington for Wreaths Across America.
Wow.
That is, when we started, that was one of our things we want to do, and for us, it's more of a time commitment. Can we take time off from work? Who's going to drive down? Do we take the train? All of that. And another one is to be a chaperone for an honor flight. They have a very long waiting list of veterans who will go to Bradley Airport, get on that airplane that morning, fly down to DC, do a tour of DC, and then come back. Yeah. But those are the two things that...
What are they at now? I mean, it started off with World War II.
Yeah, so an honor flight is flying the senior-most veterans down for the services, for the ceremonies. And
I
each
know
one gets a companion to keep them in the right place and on track.
Nobody gets lost.
Right.
They're up to Vietnam now.
Vietnam.
A chaperone.
Yep. So World War II, Korea, Vietnam are the priorities.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that when it first started, it was all World War II, and unfortunately,
most of those,
time has caught up, and it's. I remember leaving here out of Connecticut. There was a number of flights that left Bradley.
Yep.
So
I know they have another one this spring coming up, and we go when the flights come in because it's usually late at night, and we'll welcome everybody off the plane when they come in. So their families are there, their chaperones are there, the veterans themselves are there. It's another one of those feel-good, fuzzy moments.
Now, how can people get involved in the veteran groups events or reach you?
We are all over social media. So we have our Facebook page, Dames for Soldiers Facebook. Instagram handle is the same, Dames for Soldiers, with the spelled out 4, not a numeric. And then we have a Gmail account, damesforsoldiers@gmail.com.
And we'll have that on the bottom of the screen when we...
and we do have a website, so everything feeds into that. So if you wanted to know more about us, our origin, and a little bit of our personal lives, we're all up there.
And that's the Dames for Soldiers. Like you said, it's spelled out FOR. With that being said, we kind of came right into the station on time. You know, it's amazing how we do that.
Little practice.
But that's all the time we have. It goes by fast.
It does.
It was great to have you back again, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
You know, we look forward to the next time come back with an update.
Yeah, if you go to follow them, then you might see them at these events. You can find out where they're going and support them, and that would be great.
Okay.
And we always take requests. So if anybody needs us to volunteer, let us know.
There you go. Okay, with that being said, it's a wrap. I want to thank the viewers for watching. See you next time on the Veterans Corner. Good night.
Keeps us warm at Jaws Pawn, and we're stocked full of treasures. Big or small, we buy it all. We buy and sell fast rides, power tools, vintage guitars, and so much more. Walk the plank in style with our fine jewelry, diamonds, and watches. Plus, we have a huge selection of the latest video games, including the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Jaws Pawn, conveniently located on Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington and West Main Street in New Britain.
I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lin.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Woodin.
Decision for ourselves for this week, if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the cliffs with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.